express your Eid greetings with these one-of-a-kind watercolor cards, made with love and care. Follow along as we demonstrate the salt technique to create stunning textures and effects. I am using Arto watercolor painting pad. Provides excellent color retention and allows for the paint to be applied smoothly. Using a good quality paper is important when working with watercolors, as it can affect the final result. So let's begin by painting the base of our card with a light wash of watercolor. We are using a combination of pink and yellow to create a soft pastel look. One of the benefits of using watercolors is that they are easy to blend and layer, making it possible to achieve a range of colors and shades. They are also great for creating textures and patterns. Watch as we demonstrate this technique on our first card. You will be able to see the effects of the salt technique later on in this video. Next, we will sprinkle salt on the wet paint. The salt will absorb some of the paint, creating interesting patterns as it dries. We will leave the card to dry completely before brushing off the salt. And there you have it, our first Eid card using the salt technique in watercolor. Stay tuned to see the effects of the salt technique on the rest of our cards. Now, let's move on to our second Eid card using watercolor and the salt technique. For this card, we will start by painting the background with a light blue color. We will blend the colors together to create a smooth transition between the shades. Next, we will sprinkle salt on the wet paint to create texture and interest. We can see the salt absorbing the paint and creating unique patterns. Stay tuned to see the effects of the salt technique on the rest of our cards. For our third card, we will start by painting a blue sky background. We will use a light blue color at the top and gradually blend it into a darker blue at the bottom. This will create a beautiful gradient effect that represents the sky. Next, we will sprinkle salt on the wet paint. Just like in the previous cards, the salt will absorb some of the paint and create unique patterns and textures. For our fourth Eid card, we will start by painting a moon using yellow, mustard, and orange colors to create a beautiful gradient effect. We will blend these colors to create a smooth transition between the shades. Next, we will write text in the center of the moon using a metallic pen or gold ink. Moving on to the background, we will start by painting a blue sky using the same technique as the previous cards. We will blend a light blue color at the top with a darker blue at the bottom to create a gradient effect. To add texture and interest to the background, we will sprinkle salt on the wet paint. Due to time constraints, We will use a tissue to blot any excess water and then use a hairdryer to dry the painting quickly. Now that the paint has dried, we can see the magic of the salt technique revealing itself. Now that we have completed the painting process for all 4 Eid cards one by one, it's time to add some finishing touches. This will add a personal touch to the card and represent the significance of the moon during Eid. First, we will focus on detailing. This means we will use a fine-tip brush or pen to highlight the drawing and make it stand out. This will add depth and dimension to the painting and make it look more professional. One of the unique characteristics of watercolor painting is that the paint is transparent and allows light to shine through, creating a luminous effect. Watercolors are made by mixing pigments with water, and the amount of water used affects the intensity of the color. When working with watercolors, it's important to use a good quality paper that can absorb water without buckling or warping. Watercolor paper comes in various weights and textures, and artists often experiment with different types to achieve different effects. One of the benefits of using watercolors is their ability to blend and layer, allowing for a wide range of colors and shades. The salt technique involves sprinkling salt onto wet paint, which absorbs some of the paint and creates interesting patterns as it dries. After adding the finishing touches, such as glitter or sequins to our watercolor paintings, we move on to the final step of the process. We have cut hard-colored chart papers of different colors, and now we carefully assess which color complements each painting the best. We want to ensure that the colors of the paper and painting work together harmoniously. Once we have selected the appropriate color for each painting, we will paste them onto the colored cards. This final step gives the paintings a sturdy base and adds a pop of color to the overall design. With the paintings secured onto the colored cards, our Eid greeting cards are now ready to be shared with our loved ones.